Morning shine, time to rise, GM Base fam. Base junkie got the crypto insights, no scam. Grab a coffee, sit tight while we dissect. Gems and tokens, big gains you collect. Welcome to the show, crypto knowledge flow. Base junkie on the mic, secrets to bestow. Insights like gold, numbers never lie. We're chasing dreams, shooting for the sky. Charts and candles, read them like a book. Crypto analysts, sharpen every hook. Bull or bear, it don't matter, we adapt. Base junkie got the roadmap, that's a fact. Welcome to the show, crypto knowledge flow. Base junkie on the mic, secrets to bestow. Insights like gold, numbers never lie. We're chasing dreams, shooting for the sky. Blockchain tech got us future bound. Digital wealth spreading all around. Base family, together we stand strong. Crypto journeys, we ain't never wrong. Welcome to the show, crypto knowledge flow. Base junkie on the mic, secrets to bestow. Insights like gold, numbers never lie. We're chasing dreams, shooting for the sky. Chasing dreams, shooting for the sky. Chasing dreams, shooting for the sky.
Yo, yo, yo! And welcome to this episode of the Base Space. This is a series of base regional interviews. Today, we have the base regional lead of India, Soumya, joining us. So welcome to the show. How are you today, Soumya?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad that you got the name pronunciation right. Very on spot. Excited to be here, excited to jam, excited to share what we're doing in India.
Honestly, it's a pleasure to have you. My goal for this series is to help the regional leads get more visibility with the communities they are empowered to serve. Because at the end of the day, we see a lot of interviews from the top level on the base, but these are the boots on the ground. These are the people who are helping each geographical region come on chain, empowering builders, creators, and communities. So really, this is a great opportunity for you to share more about yourself. It's great for the community to learn more about you, and at the end, how to get in contact with you. So just as we getting started, take us down a trip down memory lane. Walk us through, like, how did you get into crypto, and then what led you up to your time of joining the base team?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously long story, but to sum it up, I feel like I started. I come from like consulting, investment banking. I used to run nonprofit earlier, and I was leading like strategy for a banking company here in India, and got into like crypto largely to evaluate blockchain use cases, right? And then I got sort of sucked in and decided, oh shit, dude, like this makes so much sense. Told my wife that, you know what, like maybe I'm going to take some time off and try and understand the space more deeply. So maybe you're the person that brings money in for some time as I step back. And the next sort of, this was 5 years ago. And since then, it's been a lot of I don't know, like very, very different things. I didn't know I could build. I started building. I set up a builders collective, and because you come from finance, you don't spend so much time like actually building products and thinking about tech as much. But the scene in India was crazy. The scene in Bangalore, especially, everyone was like excited about building new things and shipping something. Just thinking about like taking an idea and making it real excited me, and that led us. I don't know. That led me to start like a builders collective, and I mean, I was very early, like Super Team and Solana, and that how they grew in India was also very close. Like amazing to see because they sort of built out the ecosystem, and I joined Base. Like my journey to join Base is slightly different because I didn't mean to join Base. It was more so that I was on Farcaster. I was anyway like building stuff and bringing people together to build stuff, and it felt like I set up a community called FPI, which is Farcaster Builders International. We now operate in India and Africa, and we like one of the largest builder collectives, and that was purely us having fun, right? Like us shipping things week on week, sharing about what we're doing, having fun on like Farcaster and on Telegram, and that led us to doing a lot of meetups in India. And Jesse saw that, and Jesse is like, okay, dude, like, what do you need? How can I support? And yeah, I mean, Jesse was like, firstly, I think there was so much value alignment with Jesse in terms of how he thought about bringing people on chain, how he thought about like consumer applications, and how we thought about it, that it made sense to do it together. And because you're doing so much anyway with FBI in India, that it just made sense to come on board and lead India for them. So this has been like the journey so far. I also used to run a payments company, and I've been a founder before. Missed that part.
You just like just throw that in. Oh yeah, I also did this cool thing over here as well. But hey man, I love that. I love the fact that you saw where the future is going. Things are going on chain, and either you have the security of a finance position, the fact that you and your wife came to the agreement, like, hey, look, I need to do this. I need to jump out of the nest to find what I feel like is the next big thing, and then just growing on Farcast, kudos to that. You got the whole FBI. Very, very cool. So you mentioned that you kind of like stumbled into Base. You're part of the Solana super team. So how does it feel for you, like switching chains like that? Like, what was like the pivotal moment where you said, okay, you know what, I feel more kinship over here than over here, and how was that? What were the pros both sides?
Yeah.
What was the reason?
So, I mean, it was less about like chains and cults and like that kind of scenario, but more so on like, what are we trying to accomplish here? What's the best way to accomplish it? And we're trying to bring the world on chain together. All of us, all ecosystems everywhere are trying to do that in their own right, and their own like approaches to do that. And I felt like Base's approach of being open to everyone and building this like large global economy and empowering, working with not just builders but creators, communities everywhere in the world all at once, resonated really hard with me. And I felt like this was also the kind of approach that I had personally, and the kind of ecosystem I wanted to build. So I feel like that alignment existed with Base more closely, and those values. Because of those values, it made sense to just do it, right? Like, and it wasn't that other people weren't doing a great job; they were also doing a great job. But there was this gap I felt, and where you could make it like more open and inclusive for everyone to come together and start building, and make sure they have the support systems and structures. And even before that, it was more so about, hey, we want to build, and we want to build where it's cool, we want to build where it's cheap and easy to build, and we want to build where people are thinking about distribution, people are thinking about finding users, and not just talking about tech, but more so of use cases and consumers. And that felt like this was the place where you could do that.
Yeah, I think Base has, in no uncertain terms, is very clear about their goals. Like a million developers, a billion users, and a trillion in assets under management. Like it is there for the world to see. These are our goals. If you're going to dream big. So why not let's bring the world on chain. So I think there's definitely a strong alignment there. Now, as the regional lead of India, like, talk us through a little bit about, without having to get like too in depth on like the economic situation, but like in terms of like money and stable coins, what, like, how is the current regulation towards crypto, like in terms of crypto friendliness, and where do you see stable coins fitting into day-to-day usage in India?
Like, stablecoins obviously make so much sense, right? It's just easier, faster, sharper, more interoperable, more like, and you can. It's just global payment rails working super efficiently, and from India's standpoint, I think India's not very friendly towards crypto. Has never been, and it's been the past close to, I think, few years have been working closely with the governments, trying to help them understand what this technology does. And because you fear what you don't understand, and I feel like their fear is around tax evasion, terrorism financing, and those kind of things, which obviously crypto enables. If you're not tracking it, it's likely that you can like be funding sanctioned entities and things like that. And if you can create structures around private payments, create structures around ZK based payments where you can still validate if this person is not a sanctioned person and still be able to pay this person, then there's like definitely merit, right? And so from a stablecoin lens, it makes obvious sense. And I think the government is slowly understanding what that means. It hasn't reflected in their policies yet, but there's like a huge effort, lobby in the process, and trying to work with different governments in different shapes, working on various pilot programs across, like from land registrations on chain, to payment trails on chain, to tokenization on chain. Lots of like smaller pilots being worked upon. And while it does not seem like that on the outside for everyone to see, because it doesn't get covered in the news as often as like the tax things that would get like a lot more limelight, uh, there's still work being done, and it's a process. I think working like any policy takes longer to follow up to the tech that sort of disrupts the previous policy. It takes time, and I think it's going to happen over maybe like the next few years, hopefully.
Yeah, that's really fascinating to hear. Obviously, like sometimes like, internationally, you see some like just headlines of like uh, India's stance on Bitcoin or something, and it's like, okay, well, is this actually the view, like the view of the people? Is this just like a headline? Is this just something that one politician said?
Yeah. So from a consumer standpoint, India is one of the largest people. Like crypto penetration is one of the highest in India, right? And more people buy crypto in India than buy mutual funds. So, which is insane considering the amount of advertising capabilities that the mutual fund industry has, as opposed to like all these bans that the crypto industry faces. So, there's obviously appetite for crypto in the country. It's a matter of now making sure that this appetite is fulfilled in the like right, credible sort of way. To answer your question, there's definitely appetite. There's obviously like people want crypto here. It's a matter of educating them, helping them understand uh, what does it even mean to be like buying this crypto, right? Like, what is it that you're buying into? What are these assets? Helping them understand that component is the biggest piece of journey, and which is why like the government is also scared, because people, some like most times don't know what they're buying into. Right? They're sort of speculating.
Yeah, I mean, like India, what has the second largest population in the world, uh, potentially the largest if you are to look at possibly undocumented people. Now, like it's a very interesting uh, country that could benefit a lot from crypto, like the accessibility to finance. Um, in terms of, I mean, obviously that it's kind of like a big task here, but like in terms of like empowering the everyman on the streets.
Yeah.
How do you see that sort of unfolding? Like, how can people benefit from it, and how can people get access to it over the next coming years?
Let me give you an example, right? So I used to do impact investments previously, right? Like that is investment banking, especially designed for social impact. And a lot of my work was dedicated towards microfinance, towards microtransactions, towards working closely with non-banking financial companies in sectors like education, agriculture, and so on. Now, to give you an example, when in India, if you set up a school, and you take money from a bank to set up that school, uh, the you're unlikely to get a loan, because most banks will not give you a loan on your cash flow book. So there are specialized companies that give loans to schools. Now those, because it's a riskier asset, they will charge you somewhere around 18% to 30% every year for to access that loan, right? And the school of course will not bear that cost themselves, but will forward that cost to the parent. So the child's fees will increase, and the daily wage laborer, the average employee of a multinational company is going to bear the brunt of a school wanting to expand, of a school wanting to get a new bus, of a school wanting to get a swimming pool, right? And the parents going to fund that. Now, if, for example, this school was to access internet capital markets and could raise capital from global investors, they could raise it at 10%. They could, and still be a high yield opportunity and a stable asset for the investor sitting in the West, right? So I feel like the amount of impact that you can do with these like numbers, which don't seem much because you're thinking, oh, 10%, 12%, 14%, is actually somebody's life that goes in paying interest, that will work 2 extra years or 5 extra years to pay that kind of EMI, right? So I feel like the work that we do in bringing the world on chain is really important because it enables people accessing funds in the right manner, at the right prices, at the right price point, and enabling everyone access this global economy, and then using that to create new businesses to power like their own ideas. And you can do so much more if you have access to the right kind of like capital markets, which doesn't exist right now because it's not as efficient.
That's powerful. I mean, that use case. I mean, it's financial liberation, and connecting. I mean, this extra liquidity that can come. Like, you're not just looking for local investors. You're not looking to at the local banks. You know they have control in the market, have a monopoly over lending. By broadening the pool and being able to access funds internationally, that's an incredible use case for the stablecoin movement. Um,
100%. And you could also layer this with like stuff like microtransactions, like permissionless systems where you can now assess somebody's social reputation, somebody's on-chain activities, and you can sort of lead to them getting a custom interest rate, a custom graph for themselves, and so on. So honestly, this the on-chain economy sort of leads to lots of newer instruments and ideas that have not been explored deeply before. And I feel like now we are at the stage where those primitives are coming in place.
Fantastic. Now, in terms of bringing end users, like people in the street, people who maybe want to go to the market, local merchants, how do you think such a ginormous task? Um, how do you see, like, how do you take that first bite of the apple in getting to that local on-chain economy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like one, you don't need to do a lot of push if there's enough value in what you're building. So what I mean by that is, for example, in India, like financial rails are done like heavily by UPI, which is a way for people to just pay anyone, anywhere, microtransaction, 1 rupees, 2 rupees. That's like less than like a cent, right? So if people are paying that kind of money to everyone and being able to do that freely using their mobile phones and these QR codes, which is the like unified payment interface system in India, uh, everyone now uses QR codes because that system has so much value, and it is created to this like large network of banks now being able to trust each other because of this like protocol. Now, what the UPI sort of lacks is if we were to bring this UPI system in, say, South Africa tomorrow, you have to go manually to South Africa. You have to teach their banks how this works, what standards, what database schemas, how to understand it, how to interpret this data, how to encrypt this data so other banks don't read it, and so on. So it's not composable. It's not like you can't just plug and play. But what the like on-chain economy allows you to do is build a permissionless UPI. Like anyone, anywhere can plug in into the system. Suddenly, all banks can read this information in like because it's standardized. And I think that is the most powerful component. And when people see that, they're gonna. You don't need to like force value. There is inherent value in what we are building here. It's a matter of getting the right people educated about what we're doing here and getting those like organizations to sort of adopt uh, these mechanisms of like like whether it's stablecoin design, there's like other on-chain mechanisms around like supply chain or whatever. Uh, what we have seen and learned in the past is that regulation can be a huge hindrance, and the like crypto word is sort of very like synonymous with scam. So I think we've got an awareness problem to tackle where we gotta like educate first on, hey, what is this technology first, and how can you then use it in your organizations, in your business case, because 9 times out of 10 this is beneficial for whatever you're doing, irrespective of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, education is everything. But then also, if there's already, I mean, it's fascinating that there's already a QR system that's well adopted, because that sort of feels like 2/3 of the way there into like
Yeah.
understanding what it could be. I mean, I remember when I was living in Shanghai, they had a WeChat and Alipay, which are similar as like Apple Pay, and the whole QR system was it's a past credit cards, it's a past cash, and you could just everything was tap 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 your phone. So I mean, they have these systems that are futuristic, but also, as you said, it's not compatible with other countries. They would need to download whatever the local thing is. Whereas crypto is superior in the sense that it's borderless.
Yeah, and not just that, right? Like to add quickly here, so it's not just borderless. There's also lots of other components that come with. So, for example, if my social reputation is also on chain and my financial reputation is also on chain, you can marry that. You can now create products for me that did not exist before, which sort of can give me credit based on my, say, social reputation. Right? So those newer sort of unseen before like offerings can be built out uh, on-chain rails that cannot be built on traditional rails.
100%. I think that that empowers people that are quote unquote good actors to have extra credibility when asking for um, certain loans or applying for jobs. It's more
Exactly.
it's verifiable, and immutable.
Yeah.
Now, the existing, I mean, okay, so there's two avenues I want to go down, but first one would be like if there's already a UPI that's existing, I would imagine there would be some pushback from their side if there's a newer, sleeker
Stable.
model, an alternative. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, like I guess it's more of a statement. Um, so I think it's hard to push the regulation towards that. But
Yeah.
maybe a better question that can lead to a more fruitful answer. Maybe like in terms of crypto education, in terms of the literacy of educating people that hey, you have this solution to a problem, which is the existing QR system, the UPI that everyone's accustomed to. Here is a better way. How do you envision local education happening for crypto? And is that on your personal roadmap? Is that something that you're focusing on, the local
Yeah,
education?
not really, right? Like I think what we are focusing on crypto education, we're focusing on-chain education, but very, very developer first and builder first, right? It's not so much from a user standpoint right away, because we feel like if you truly think about it, like builders and creators are top of the funnel. If you if you can bring in a lot more builders, and if you can educate them, and if you can get a lot more creators to talk about what people are building, what people are creating, then you've got this like loop which will get more users. So we're spending a lot of time at that component of the funnel, and what that translates to in terms of sort of on-chain education initiatives is we've actually not announced it yet, but you're gonna like work with large edtech players in India and work to enable lots of builders and lots of creators to come on chain, start building on chain, get excited about what does it mean to be building on chain, what does it mean to be creating on chain, how do you become part of the on chain economy, and those components. So those are like some education initiatives that we're gonna run. That will be for like people that want to learn and are actively seeking knowledge, as opposed to us going out in colleges and teaching people forcefully.
Yeah, I think you said it well before that if there is an inherent value, you don't need to like sell it hard. There's no hard sell
Yeah.
required because the value is inherent. Now, the approach you're taking is very interesting, and I think you are for your current setting, you're right because you need to be thinking about top of funnel because you're talking about such a large region with such an immense population. Like maybe right now it's not like maybe you get a few dozen, a few hundred people to come on chain, but in terms of a complete infrastructure renovation, you need to be looking at top of funnel, having more voices, more builders, more infrastructure, so that eventually, once those key building blocks are in place, then it's like, hey guys, here's all the wonderful things that you can do
100%.
on chain.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned just before the call that you are doing some IRL uh, workshops. Please, I would love
Fellowships.
to know more fellowships. That's it. Please share more about that.
Yeah, so we actually are running the third iteration of what we call the Based Fellowship. There's this initiative in India and Africa that I earlier spoke about called FBI, and FBI runs the Based Fellowship for us, and like we support FBI, Eigenlayer supports FBI, and we work closely to bring in some 30 top builders from all over India who are excited about like building on chain, building apps on chain, and we work with them and we work with creators and designers we work give them like specific ideas to build, and we take them IRL to a place in the mountains. We've been taking them for the past two iterations, and to the Himalayas where you go, you'll co-live, you co-build every day. You have lots of like cultural experiences, and you come back having shipped something. And we did the previous iteration we did was in April earlier this year, and it worked so well that we decided to do it every quarter, and we got funded for 4 quarters. So we're now doing it. This next iteration is gonna be somewhere. We've not revealed the location yet. So if you go to my Twitter, if you go to like all over like Indian Crypto Twitter, you'll see lots of people talking about how they're recceing for the Based Fellowship 3.0 and posting pictures from various locations. So we're gonna start announcing when that is happening. My call to action for everyone listening is that it's coming. Like now is the best time to get your on-chain score up, to start using apps, because you will be evaluated on your on-chain score. You will be evaluated on your GitHub score, and then you'll be evaluated on the merit of your idea and vibe check and like other interviews. But like baseline is your on-chain score and your GitHub score, because you cannot be building in a space that you don't understand. And to understand that space better, you need to be using the products that make the space.
Powerful stuff, and I think that touches exactly on the thing you were saying before about the on-chain reputability. So just to repeat it, the GitHub score people need to be building on, and what was the other one?
On-chain score, yeah.
On-chain score. And how do people build their on-chain score?
So it's based. So you can actually go to onchainscore.xyz and you can see your on-chain score. Maybe you can too, and you'll see how on-chain are you, right? And it scores you on like a score of 100. It talks about like contracts deployed. It talks about transactions done. It talks about liquidity provided and so on.
Okay, fascinating. I mean, I'm not much of a developer myself. I vibe coded one arcade game. That was my dipping my toe into developer waters, and I was fascinated and blown away by the immense like support there is from vibe coding from ChatGPT and then of course like the Fark team was super responsive, helping me literally like read the Matrix for the first time in my life.
Love.
So yeah, I'll definitely check that out as well. I wonder if I got some credibility points for that.
100%. It's a very fun thing to do, right? Like sometimes what I do is I go on calls and then wherever I'm invited for a talk, etc., I'll be like, okay, share your screen, show your on-chain score, right? Like, are you on-chain? You're calling me to give a lecture on on-chain, but are you, right? And the fact that you have NFTs that you've been transacting on chain, it shows, and it means that you're using a lot of these products and tools. And I feel like it's really important for all of us that are in this economy that are talking about permissionless systems and decentralization and composability to actually be using these products day in, day out.
That's it. You know, enough talk. Let's walk the walk. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been so interesting to me because it's. I mean, India. I see headlines. I see beautiful pictures. I see disparity in wealth, and I see a lot of people that maybe are looking for microfinancing. So it's been very interesting to ask some of the questions. But for the people, the community that you're here to serve, how can people reach out to you, and how can people get support from yourself and others in the regional team?
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy. Just like hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Saxena Saib, the name that you see here on screen. And it's the same handle on Telegram. DMs are open. Feel free to reach out. If you have specific asks on, how you're going to get involved, if you're interested, curious, all of that, happy to jam. You feel free to also ask for an invite to the FBI community where like we're all pretty active. And so all base people are there. And it's a nice, fun thing. Like lots of banter, lots of fun, but also lots of building and a lot of chaos.
Now, a question for myself regarding the FBI. I'm in the kiddie pool in terms of developing. I'm more like, I want to like build communities and spotlight people who are doing adding value in such amazing ways. Somebody who's in the kiddie pool as a developer, I can't even put myself in the same sentence as a developer. But somebody who has an interest in learning how to develop, would that be a place that's
100%? That's the place. Come in, join in. Lots of like really sharp builders, full range of developers, from people that are just starting out to people that have raised over like tens of millions of dollars. So it's a very wide pool, and everyone is like super helpful. Come join in and like ask your questions, talk about your ideas, and you're gonna get feedback. You're gonna get your users, so on.
Incredible. Builders support builders. So on that, what is the Farcaster handle for the group?
It's called Call Us FBI. So it's called CALL US FBI.
Okay.
Yeah, but very much more active on Twitter now and Telegram. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in.
I'll send you a link.
Yes, please. Incredible. All right. Well, Soumya, I really appreciate your time. It's been fascinating to dive deeper and learn more about the situation, how you're supporting others, and how people can get in touch. So thank you, Soumya.
Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you so much for like highlighting base voices. Super important for the community to find like these avenues to come together, and like amazing work, all the work that you're doing. Cheers.
Well, I appreciate you all. Together we thrive, together we grow, and together we will hit those goals, bringing 1 million developers on chain, 1 billion users, and 1 trillion assets. Let's get it. So, I just want to say once again, thank you to everybody who tuned in today. 360 live viewers. I hope this has been informative, educational, and fun. We'll see you on a future stream. And in fact, tonight I will be interviewing the regional lead for Argentina. As Base continues to go global, we want to continue to amplify the voices of the people who are boots on the ground here to serve the communities. So thank you, everybody. Have an incredible day. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, but most importantly, stay based. Peace out, everyone.
I'm a baseline junkie. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. And I like it funky.